when we talk about this debasement trade, when it shows up on the awareness, we have Google Trends data, and I'll go to that for public sentiment. But what I want to get across is the actual debasement trade was taking place during the markup, right? The actual debasement of gold of the dollar in gold terms was when price moved up from a $2,000 level, which was resistance for 3 years, 2020, 2021, 2022, most of 2023, broke out from $2,000 and has shot up to $4,200 and change per ounce as of the time of this recording in mid-October. That itself was the debasement, right? The markup is the debasement. Now, when the public finally realizes, hey, I'm catching on, hey, there's a debasement going on, it tends to be after the fact. And once you start seeing this in financial media, mainstream, CNBC, Wall Street Journal, once it starts hitting those headlines, and maybe you'll start hearing you know, your siblings, your mother, your taxi driver saying, "Hey, I'm gonna sell out of my dollar savings and buy gold." That's kind of the point in the cycle where it's reached the trade itself, which was occurring over that markup period, is at the point where it's reached kind of broad public participation. So the fact that we're seeing this now, the financial media is always going to give the market participants what they want, right? If they had tried to market the debasement trade back in 2023, right, no one would have listened. It wouldn't have gotten clicks, right? You couldn't find anybody to buy a gold miner, let it.
Like, why would I waste money buying gold miners? Yeah.
Yeah, it was hated. No, you can't do it. Versus now, they're getting bid up. It's a crazy bull market, not just gold miners, silver, other precious metals, platinum, palladium. It's spilling over into industrial metals. So if you look at gold price in orange, obviously you see a chart that's up and to the right over the course of the last 20 years, where we have Google search trend data, which tells you where the public is, where the level of public interest in this debasement term shows up. Key thing here also, I want to call out, debasement is not a standard word in most people's lexicon, right? I think if you could do some studies, it's like, how many words does the average American have in their, you know, grammar vault, right, to pull from? Probably 1,000, couple thousand, right? Debasement is not going to be one of them. It's a word you don't typically see in everyday life, right? Like the noticing of currency debasement. Um, the fact that it spikes and everybody researches it really is your signal of kind of the public participation phase occurring in this phenomenon that's taken place. What do I mean by that? So prior peak of this debasement term, it's actually, in terms of Google Trends, Americans searching for these terms, we've actually got a higher high in terms of public interest in this word, in this phenomenon. This was during the peak gold market after the 2008 GFC, and we'd done 2 rounds of quantitative easing. Remember, back in those days, we saw gold shoot up in peaks right at about $1,800 is where it topped at. That search interest in the debasement term, we get the laser pointer. It shows up right here, 2012, mid 2012, after the top in the gold price in that post 2008 run up had already occurred, right? So the public comes in late is typically how this works. They're the followers. They're not ahead of the trend. They're not the high conviction players who were buying gold miners back when no one wanted them. You couldn't give them away. So the fact that you're starting to see it show up now, the financial media is going to give the American investing public what they want. This is a good indicator of where the market cycle is. Now, it doesn't mean that gold price can't run up further from here, But the fact of the matter is that the new entrants to the debasement trade, pulling into gold, you could say pulling into Bitcoin, pulling investor awareness into Bitcoin, on top of this narrative, generally tends to fall with market types, or sorry, market cycles where you're looking at a distribution phase. And what do I mean by that? It means this is where the smart money, the players who or the market participants who are savvy and sharp and were buying low back when no one wanted something, they will distribute those shares into kind of the public euphoria. Is what happens here. Doesn't have to work out this way. Maybe we do want to keep gold, marking up higher, keep Bitcoin setting all-time highs, all of the above. Could happen. But the fact that we're starting to see the public broadly aware and entering kind of a sense of euphoria and desperation, it's a good signal of where we are in the market cycle.
I think it's really interesting to see that like your green line here with the arrows on the left hand side of the chart for our audience. That to me is so clear of showing the actual debasement happened, and then people start to catch on late.
Yep.
It's interesting to see the actual data here lined up like that. So
As always, public is the last to know. Um,